Okay, this one is a pretty interesting story, and I have to thank my wife. She really likes me to acknowledge that she found something that I'm using on the show. She's like,
As you should.
as I should. I do appreciate it. And listen, you two guys, girls, also, if you see stuff, text it to me because I'm always looking for stories. And all you people out there in the interwebs, what camera am I looking at? In the interwebs, if you see a story, you want me to talk about it, send it to me on one of the socials or comment, and I will do it. So, moving on to segment 2, this is kind of interesting. There has been a surge in male breast cancer because of ground zero from 9/11 in New York City. This is kind of wild. So this comes from a news article that my wife sent to me. Throw that article up in case people want to see it. Trey, boom, number of men with breast cancer near New York City's ground zero skyrockets now 90 times the national average. Something definitely is going on here. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about male breast cancer, which we've never talked about, I don't think. We've talked about so many topics. I don't think we've ever talked about, have we?
I think we've mentioned it, but
We
I don't
mentioned
think
it?
it's never been a segment.
Every once in a while, I'll do a segment. You guys are like, we've already done this one.
No, I don't think we've done it.
You know how many segments
made it
we've done?
as a
We've done like
segment.
125 segments. No, not segments, shows. That's 675 segments that we've done. We're like legit.
We're researchers.
We're science.
Mostly you.
Science happening right here. Okay, so why would, and this is for people who are either at or near working or living around ground zero, why would these people have a surge in male breast cancer? So
Is there some kind of radiation there?
that is one of the reasons, Sarah. I will jump to number 3 because you pointed this out. Radiation and particulate matter from the collapse of the towers can cause DNA damage and increase the risk of cancer.
But where did the radiation come from?
I mean, that's a big building. There's, say for example, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but say there was an X-ray machine or something that got destroyed. There could be, I mean, and I don't even know if there's an X-ray machine would be the right thing, but the Twin Towers had, hundreds of businesses in there, and there would be some hazardous materials.
So like all of the printers that were in there?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Do printers carry radiation?
You are really getting out of my wheelhouse. Trey, do printers carry radiation?
Like scanners, like those big printers?
Like a big printer, Trey. How much
Yeah,
radiation
heavy.
is in a big? He's looking at me like with a very kind of blank
Look
look
it
on his
up.
face.
I am
No,
not sure.
don't look it up.
I am not
He's
sure.
looking at
I
it
felt
up.
like he might know because Trey will come out with some knowledge, and I'm like, whoa, Trey, that's pretty good. Okay, I don't know. Trey's
All
gonna
of the cell phones that were in there?
right. Okay, maybe so. They're all
Oh,
storing a little bit of radiation.
They actually do.
They
Printers-
do.
they
Okay,
do.
thank you,
Every floor.
Sarah. Very smart. Okay,
Every
like
floor had probably 10
exactly
on there.
right.
Ay, ay, ay.
We're really getting off in the weeds here. So,
Hey.
radiation and particulate matter. Yes, you're absolutely correct, Sarah. The first one that I kind of came up with was toxic dust and chemicals, but it's along the same lines. So, within the trade towers, when they collapsed, there was a release of a lot of toxic materials, asbestos, dioxins, heavy metals, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are called PAHs. These are all known carcinogens, meaning they increase your risk of cancer. So when the towers collapsed, all of these toxic chemicals got released, and so that makes sense.
Yeah.
There were also chemicals that cause endocrine disruption. So some chemicals can interfere with hormone function and
Okay.
thus increase cancers that are hormone related, one of which is
Breast cancer?
breast cancer. Yes, very good, very good. And then lastly, this one's kind of a little bit more of a stretch, but also true. Psychological and physical stress, which obviously anyone around ground zero would definitely have, does suppress immune function, which also plays a part in repairing DNA and preventing
Right.
cancer. So those are some of the reasons that people around ground zero could definitely have increase in breast cancer. And it's not just breast cancer. There's a laundry.
Other cancers.
Yeah, there's a laundry list of diseases and cancers that people who were working in around ground zero have had higher incidence of. But this one's pretty crazy, 90 times higher. So let's talk a little bit about male breast cancer, which we've never talked about. As people probably know, but maybe not know a lot about it, men can get breast cancer just like women do.
Yeah, because they have lymph nodes in there too, right?
Breast
that-
tissue. We have
yeah.
lymph node. You're on the right track. Yes.
Okay.
Breast cancer and lymph nodes go hand in hand, so you're definitely on the right track. But specifically, they have breast ducts and breast lobules
Okay.
like women do. They're just much, much smaller because the signals to make those grow are not there in men.
Yeah.
They're there. They're just in very, very small amounts. You know, we
Right.
have estrogen just like
Yeah.
women do, and men have testosterone. Women have testosterone just like men
Yeah.
do, but it's just different amounts. And so we do have breast tissue, which is very small, except in the case of gynecomastia, which we've
Right.
talked about, which is where men will have an unusual amount of breast tissue. So
This is a side topic. Do people
bring it. I love it.
Do people that
Side
have
quest,
that,
Trey. Run a side quest.
Do people that have that problem, like having the man boob problem,
Man
do
boobs.
they have higher increase of getting breast cancer?
You know, I don't think so. That's a great question that I don't know the answer to, Sarah. I don't think so because I think if they did, I would know that,
Yeah,
and I don't.
Okay.
So if it is, maybe just
because it's like an abnormal thing, and like
It's just-
breast cancer is an
Yeah.
abnormal thing.
yeah, that's a great question. Now, I've never heard that gynecomastia has any notable. Now, maybe like a tiny millionth of a percent higher, but I've never heard that it has any notable increase in breast cancer. But I will do some research, Sarah. I love when you bring these questions up. I don't know the answer to
I don't know.
because it makes me learn stuff and it makes me better
To do
at
things.
educating the general populace. So I really derailed myself. So yes, men have ducts and lobules just like women do, and so they can get breast cancer. I think one of the big reasons that the rate's so much lower is because we don't have the circulating hormones, you know, that women do, which kind of can stimulate these cancers. So we know, or not everyone knows, but women lifetime have a 1 in 8 chance of getting breast cancer.
Yeah.
Insanely high. That's why we always talk about breast cancer. Men, not so much. 1 in 100,000 men.
Okay.
Yeah, so very, very, very low. But except for these people who are around ground zero, who it's 90 times higher, which is not even close to what men would be. So that'd be like 1 in 1,000.
Yeah.
So instead of 1 in 100,000, like 1 in 1,000, roughly.
Okay.
Yeah. So most common types of breast cancer in men are the same ones that women see. That would be ductal. So the breast is made of ducts and lobules.
Yeah.
Lobules produce the milk, and then they go through the ducts. So ductal is the most common, then lobular. There are some rare types like sarcomas, adenocarcinomas, Patch disease, and inflammatory breast cancer, which are the same thing as women.
Okay.
So once men get breast cancer, it follows a very similar path to women. Risk factors: age, as you get older, increased risk. Family history: if your dad had breast cancer, then it's more likely you're going to have breast cancer. Gene mutations: we've talked about BRCA. You guys have heard of BRCA, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so BRCA is basically the mutation in the gene which repairs cells, and women and men, which is much rarer, but women who get BRCA have an enormous increase in breast cancer risk, and also they get really bad breast cancers. Men can have BRCA as well, and so if a man, I would assume that many of the men who get breast cancer probably have BRCA gene activated, and that's why they're getting it. Radiation exposure. Sarah, bam,
All
from
those printers,
all the printers that were in the World Trade Center.
all them blowing up.
Yeah, Trey's just shaking his head in there. I wish you guys could see him. He's just like, what are they doing?
I'm trying to make sense of it all, right?
You're on the right track, though. You definitely are on the right track. And I applaud you because this is not your wheelhouse.
No.
I don't mean that in a bad way. Your wheelhouse is very broad and big, but it's not this.
No.
But you're doing very good.
Thank you.
Alcohol, obesity, environmental exposure.
Oh, from people like getting. Well, I could see alcohol from people getting depressed.
Oh, right. That would be
Situation.
another one, too, right? The social stuff, yeah. Okay, so male breast cancer, detection and diagnosis. A mass is typically what most men, because men don't get mammograms, right?
Nah.
So they're not going to get a mammogram. They're not going to, have this thing detected early, which is better to detect them early. But a lot of men will also talk about bleeding from the nipple.
Ew.
Yeah, that's how a couple. I was reading the stories of these 9/11 guys, and 2 of them said that their first symptom was bleeding from the nipple.
They're probably like, why? They probably
Why are
were
my
thinking it was
nipples
like
bleeding?
chapped.
Yeah, right. Chafed nipples. That's
Yeah.
definitely a problem. I'm running the Dallas Marathon this weekend, and so I'm gonna have to put my nipple protectors on. Not really. I'm just kidding, but
got
people
some
do that.
You got sticky boobs.
Pasties. Can I
Yeah.
borrow some pasties?
I have some, yeah.
Can I borrow them?
Sure.
Are they silicone? Mm-hmm. Okay, sweet. All right.
I'm like, no, they're the saltwater kind. I'm just kidding.
Treatment. So treatment of male breast cancer is the same as female breast cancer. surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, and prognosis is similar to female. With the only exception being that because men don't get mammograms, there is the possibility that they could be detected later.
And then it's more serious.
But the one thing is that with men, they don't have as much breast tissue, so lumps can be felt sooner. Women's breasts generally are larger, and so the cancers can be down deep, and they wouldn't feel them. Men would potentially feel them sooner because they just don't have as much tissue to mask it.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
So that's interesting. I thank my wife again for pointing that one out to me, and also it leads into a cool segment about talking about male breast cancer, which, I mean, to be fair, is just not a huge problem. I don't get offended as a man that we're not, have our own pink ribbon.
Yeah.
Because it's just so insanely rare. I think we just focus on female breast cancer and know that male breast cancer is out there, but focus on the fact that women need to be most aware of that.
Yeah, if it can be prevented in females, then it'll be prevented.
It'll be helpful. At least the treatments, right? All the treatments they're doing for female breast cancer, all thanks to women. Thank you.
Yeah.
On behalf of men, for being a woman.
So you're so welcome.
All right, I think that's about all the time we have for this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Please leave us a comment if you want us to talk about any topics. We would love to hear from you, and we'll see you on the next episode of Nip Talk.
Bye.
Bye.